The Lost and Found Prince. Story 10 of Fabulous Tales and Fables ASAP by Owen T Duggan. The Lost and Found Prince. Scene 7. A Rooster Talks.
The matrons think it's up to them,
said the patient.
They are setting me up with a wife at the banquet. But you know what? I already know who it will be.
Oh? Said Appletree.
Yes, I was walking along the street. Then I took a shortcut through some backyards. By chance I saw a single woman washing and changing. She thought she was alone. She was posing like a princess, standing in a tub. She wrapped her hair up in a big cloth.
Wow, that's nice.
Yes, wow, that's nice. Then I lost balance and fell into the yard at her feet. It was, I don't know, embarrassing. I apologized. She got dressed. And we talked. I like her. I like her a lot.
Good.
Yes, good. And she'll be there at month's end. I'll walk around, sample the food. By chance, but not really, we'll go to the same buffet table. We'll pretend it's the first time our eyes ever meet.
That's lovely.
Yes, that's lovely. And when I help set up the banquet, I'll wear the new apron. Because it's for the banquet.
Oh, said Appletree. Although the patient was talking, he was not looking Appletree in the eye. He was still lost in the land of Limbus, for there was definitely no banquet, and the end of the month had absolutely passed. Beresavi turned away, walking straight and tall for a few paces, as though having forgot his rooster persona.
It will never work, will it? Why would a woman ever marry a bird?
He returned to a crouch, arms mimicking wing stumps, as before. His demeanor fell into a gloom. Appletree felt like a fisherman with a bite on the line. You have to reel them in carefully, or the line snaps, and the fish is lost for good. Who's to say, he ventured, crouching as well, who's to say what a woman will love, or who she will love?
He made his arms into pheasant wings, which still worked, though by now he was wearing his vagabond coat, which may as well be his plumage, keeping him warm. And it was keeping him warm. They weren't out of the mental bird cage yet, though.
Who's to say, Beresavi?
Oh, it was a slip, addressing the boy perhaps too directly.
Beresavi? Who is Beresavi? Asked the rooster, with a flash of anger and a ruffle of feathers. My mistake. How would you rather be called? Appletree recovered.
Rudy. I'd rather be called Rudy.
Rudy, said Appletree, hoping to catch his patient eye to eye, but fearing it was still too soon. Rudy, as in Rudigal. Rudy, crawling under the table, said,
We have to keep watch.
Keep watch?
You know, don't be daft. It's why we're here. If the enemy crosses the line, we have to sound the warning horn.
If Appletree had to guess, it sounded like an experience relived from when Beresavi was in the war. He went with it, keeping up the questions. He joined his fellow soldier and bird under the table. And are they, Rudy? Are the enemy crossing the line? Rudy's eyes peeped out from under the table.
I don't see them, Gregos. I don't see them.
Gregos? Thought Appletree. Who is Gregos? It must have been a fellow soldier in the war. Watching and scanning the supposed horizon, he said, playing Gregos, But we need the horn, Rudy. Oh, I see it. We have to get it. Gregos! That's a funny joke, Gregos. Your real voice is deep, and you're Slavic. You're a peasant. Did you forget who you are? Appletree did a quick repeat. But, Rudy, we need the horn, Rudy. Oh, I see it. We have to get it.
What? Where do you see it?
There. It's up there. We have to get it. Appletree, as Gregos was looking up to the useless old artifacts affixed to the wall. Among them was the derelict fox-hunting horn, if that's what it was. Beresivy, Rudy, Rooster, potential prince of town, looked up. But how? He said desperately. How do we get it? Shit, said Appletree. It's pretty high up. He paused, building some kind of battle courage, and declared, But who's to say this old Slavic peasant can't find the way up, on wings or on something else? Like he was stalking out of a foxhole under enemy fire, he emerged from under the table. Rudy stared, frantic. He crept out as well, nervously, as though exposed to the enemy. Appletree said, I know what I'll do. And he grabbed the edge of the biggest table and wrestled it, dragged it to the wall. He then grabbed the smallest table and dragged that too. If a pheasant wants to build, he said, whether a nest or a tower, no one can say he cannot try it. With the little table manipulated atop the large, the pheasant doctor turned directly, not to the rooster, but to a sturdy, low, three-toed, three-legged milking stool once used surely as a potato-peeling station. Carrying it up, one table, then the next, Appletree slapped the stool on top and was ready to reach for the brass horn. It was fastened rather well. Got to try to, he said, working it. The tower shook. The leg of the small table vibrated to the edge of the big table. It was all going to collapse. Will this help? Asked the rooster. The end of a ladder thumped the wall just to the other side of the horn fixture. The pheasant saw the ladder top, glanced to its bottom, and was distracted to see that the rooster was wearing a rather stylish, black, and familiar coat. His first thought was, Hey, my coat! Who said you could? The old brass horn popped free as the tower collapsed. Appletree grabbed at the rungs of the ladder, dropping the horn. Safe. He didn't break his neck. Appletree embraced the top of the ladder, caught his breath. You okay, Gregos? Asked the one steadying the ladder's feet. You okay? I thought that question, mumbled Appletree as he descended, was supposed to be mine to ask. Beresivy had just wandered to the center of the room, there to stare in the other direction. Appletree picked up the brass horn relic. I let everyone down, said Beresivy. My uncle. Nan. My town. The Emperor. Gregos. Everyone. You let Gregos down? I went to get food. It was my turn, and when I got back, he was dead. A rock from the enemy's catapult got him."
"Catapult? You do mean artillery? A cannon?"
"Behind a hill they had some kind of mangonel catapult, loaded with field stones, and they were hurling them at us at our watch line, just to taunt us. I never saw the machine. We were watchmen, not scouts. Bad luck for Gregos. He was hit in the head. It only made the tiniest trickle of blood down to his chin, around his left ear, just here. Red, ruby red blood. Later it was brown." Appletree dismissed concern over the odd choice of words for what must have been an artillery piece. A bit of iron from an exploding shell probably was what killed Gregos. No matter that. What mattered was Beresevi's friend had died, and he was telling about it in his own way.
"I'm sorry about Gregos, Rudy. Very sorry."
He smiled in compassion and put a comforting hand on Beresevi Rudigal's shoulder.
"I don't think you let Gregos down."
"But I let the Emperor down. The thing is, when I came back, and Gregos was dead, the horn was missing. It was gone, and I honestly have no idea where it went. I couldn't sound a warning."
"Rudy, did you see the enemy cross your line?"
"No, I never saw that enemy cross. They retreated, and the war ended, and I came home."
"You never saw them cross, Rudy. That means you never had to sound the alarm. So you didn't let the Emperor down. You did your duty."
So close, thought Appletree. He was so close to assuring Beresevi that he didn't have to bear any shame, that everything was okay. "But another enemy did cross the line," said Beresevi, glaring crazily. "They cross back and forth as they please. Even now. I feel it. All the Emperor's men could watch, but still not see, because it's an army of demons. They'll overrun the town and enslave it for 1,000 years. People can't do anything. Only animals can see them. The Emperor's horses can, but where are they all? So, Gregos, we need to warn the town." The outburst was a bit unnerving for Appletree. Even now, after his many years of work, it gave him goosebumps. Also, it was frustrating that Beresevi was drumming up further excuses to blame himself. Without overthinking, Appletree chanced to say,
"But Rudy, we have this. We can sound the alarm."
He handed the brass horn to Rudy, and immediately ran to the window and tugged down all the aprons. The curtain was no more. Rudy drew breath, and standing straight and tall, poised as a prince, he sounded the alarm. However, the only sound out of the horn was a sloppy sputter. He tried again, forcefully. Only a muffled, high-pitched squeak came out. "This brass thing is freaking useless," Beresevi cursed, and he slammed it on the floor, cracking it. "It's not even made from a real ox's horn. It's fake." Appletree glared at him. Beresevi glared back. For no particular reason, Beresevi laughed. And Appletree reacted. They both guffawed, and in some sense, Gregos laughed as well with them.
That's a pretty good one, Rudy.
It was as though an enchantment had lifted, and the doctor's patient was released from whatever invisible grip had binded him. Beresivy had realized how absurd he was behaving, and he was laughing about it. Indeed, Dr. Appletree felt scarcely aware of what the trouble had been, and barely cared so long as Beresivy was better. A very good sign it was that they were looking each other clearly in the eye, neither glaring nor groveling. And they were laughing, standing straight and tall. "One question, Rudy," said Appletree, drawing attention to the finely tailored black coat Beresivy had presumed to don. "Do roosters even wear coats?" "Do pheasants?" came the response. "They can if they want to." And they laughed a bit more. "Well, black though it is, it must be warm as any coat of colored feathers. It is warm." Rudy, that's a pretty good one.